Welcome guys, gals, and pals. My name is Brooke, and this is Brooke Beams Big, where I share my expressions of joy. Happy Halloween! Today is Tuesday, October 31st, which means it is our last day of Preptober before NaNoWriMo starts tomorrow, and I still have lots of work to do. I am not the kind of writer who has an entire story binder before they even start writing, but I am definitely not the kind of writer who can go into a novel without knowing anything. First, I need an idea. I think that's pretty universal. We all need to have some specter of an idea before we dive into a book. Second, for this book in particular, since I am doing a retelling, I needed to read my source material, which for me is Gulliver's Travels. I did this in September. Third, I need some time to ruminate on my idea, to build it out, to think about my characters and their world and what they might be doing in a very loose way, that any kind of idea can come to me about anything to do with the book. Then I would say that I need a set cast list of sorts. I need to know who my primary characters are, from my main character to the side characters that appear throughout the story, and I need names. I am not trying to fumble for names during November. Then I need to start nailing down all of the most important world building aspects. That involves history of a place, that involves how certain processes work, the ones that are going to be most important to the story. That involves a map, if I'm doing a fantasy, which in this case I am, although part of this world has already been created for me, and some of the maps actually already exist, but I will be adding to that map. And there are several countries in the world of Gulliver's Travels, and I will be adding some, so I kind of need a basic idea of how these places function. I don't need to know everything before I go into drafting, but I need some big picture ideas, and maybe even some small picture ideas, and other things can come as I write. That's okay, but I need the biggest things figured out so that I'm not fumbling trying to figure out things when I should be writing words. After that, I need a basic outline. And by that, I don't mean like a 10-page long document with everything that is going to happen in the entire book with no room in between. I mean, I need a bulleted list of these are the biggest things that have to happen in the order that they are going to happen, and how we get from point A to point B, I will figure out as I go. I like having this roadmap, this direction that I'm heading in. I also like having the fun and the freedom to figure out the blank spaces. Those are the story building steps that I take before I start writing. There are a couple of other things I like to have as well. Number one is a title-ish. I don't have to have an exact title, but I need something to call my project. And this go around, I'm using a sort of working title, codename kind of thing, because honestly, nothing just came out and hit me in the face with this is the title for your work, and I didn't want to take the time right now to figure it out when I have a lot of other things I'm trying to figure out. Then number two is I need an opening sentence. Even if I don't write it down, I need to have it in my head. I need to know where I'm starting so that I can build off of that. Then number three on this prep list, because it is a prep for NaNoWriMo specifically and not just a novel project, is to have my NaNoWriMo project set up. I have already revamped my profile just because it's been several years since I used it, but I do still need to set up the actual project for NaNoWriMo 2023. Then number four, I need to have a document set up. In the past, I have mostly used Microsoft Word to write. I have tried Scrivener before, and I actually still have it, but it's on a disk, and I have no way to put that on my computer anymore. I may go back to that again in the future, but I think for this NaNoWriMo, I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna use my Word, and I'm gonna not stress too much about the fact that all of my cloud folders are a mess, because I don't have time to spend on organizing all of that right now. I can do that later. I am very much telling myself that things don't have to be perfect for me to start. And then number 5, I need a writing playlist. I very much like to listen to music when I write. It's kind of a twofold purpose thing for me. It keeps me energized, it makes me feel like I'm having fun while I'm writing, and it also helps me set at least a minimum time to write. I use it as a sprinting tool, I guess, although I've never really thought of it as sprints. I think I was always just, I just at least have to write for the length of my playlist, which is usually about 30 to 40 minutes. And usually if I can get myself to do that, I can keep going. And in prior times, I haven't really cared about matching the music with the vibe of the story. It's more about my energy levels. But this time I am gonna try to match the theme of my writing playlist with the theme of my book while maintaining that high energy. So those are all of the things I need, but where are we at? Where are we at? We have the idea. We've read Gulliver's Travels. We've been doing the brainstorming, the mulling over, the expanding our idea. I even already have my cast list, but I need to spend some time in my notebook making notes about the different countries of my world, just so that I have a reference. These things are living in my brain, but I want to get them out and maybe come up with a few more things that I might need. And I need that basic outline. I have figured out a big chunk of my story, but I just need one place where I can just bullet it out and have that reference. Then I think I have settled on a working title. I think I am going to be calling this novel Project Horizon for the time being. But I need to set up my Nano profile. I need to set up my document. I need to make that writing playlist. It is currently 2:48 p.m. It is Halloween, as I have said, so I do have some Halloween plans, and I am planning to go to my Regents kickoff party, which is at 11:30 tonight. So I have a lot of work to do and not necessarily a ton of time to do it, but I think we can at least get enough done that I can start writing tonight. If I can get my world building things done, if I can at least get the beginning of the outline done so I have a place to start, if I can pick my opening scene and get my playlist set up. Playlist is really important, but I have a lot of ideas, I just haven't put it together. Then we can start tonight for sure. And some things we can figure out along the way. I'm telling myself that's okay. I'm telling myself it doesn't have to be perfect to start. I just have to start. is now 6:08 p.m. so it's several...
It's 6:09.
So it's several hours later. In that time, I have managed to finish a couple of things. I created a timeline for the original Gulliver's Travels. I kind of need this to help me figure out some things about Gulliver's family that I may be using in the backstory of my novel. I also created my world building pages, so I did a page for each country from the original Gulliver's Travels, put the maps in my notebook, wrote a little bit about the history of them in the time between Gulliver's Travels and my novel, and kind of how these societies may have changed. And then I wrote some blurbs about the countries that I am adding to the world and thought about how I wanted them to be on the map. Although I need to print out a map of Pangaea because I'm trying to create a continent that fits into that supercontinent shape. So I've saved a page for that. So my next tasks are to create the writing playlist and to at least get the plot outline started. However, it is about time for me to start getting ready for Halloween festivities. So I'm probably gonna take a break here and try to fit in some things around that and hope that I'm successful in doing so. I know y'all can't see me very well, but it's 11:17 p.m. and I just got to the IHOP where we are having our region's kickoff party. It starts at 11:30, so I'm here a little early. I had to drive a ways, so I wanted to make sure that I got here on time. I put together a playlist before I drove, and then I listened to it on the way here to make sure it was good, and it's amazing and I love it. So we can check the writing playlist off, and I think I have come up with the first line, so we can check that off. I'm hoping that when we get started and I get in here and settled in and set up, that I can really quickly set up my NaNoWriMo project and set up my Word doc. I think those are the biggest things that I needed. I have a title, I have an opening, I'm gonna have that set up, got my writing playlist. So basically, I'm gonna have everything done except for the basic outline, which isn't the end of the world because I do know how the beginning of the story is gonna go for a good chunk. I just like to have the outline written, but I don't necessarily need it for tonight. That can be like a tomorrow project or the next day, kind of working on it in between actual drafting. But I am so excited for this because it is my very first in-person Nano event ever. I was going to wear my clown costume and show it to you guys, but it wasn't practical for me to drive this far and then hang out here and then drive that far back in it. So I am back in my regular clothes except for my hair jingles. I have given a heads up to my fellow kickoff party attendees that I will be vlogging, but I'm not gonna put anyone else in without their permission, obviously, so I'm hoping to get some good clips to put in here, and then I will probably either update again when I get back in the car before I head home, or when I get home, to tell you how it went. just gotten home from the kickoff party. It is 2:29 a.m. So we are gonna chat while I take off my makeup and take this stuff out of my hair. So I didn't take a lot of clips while I was at the kickoff party because the table was kind of cramped and I couldn't figure out how to set it up right, especially without getting anyone in the background who didn't necessarily want to be. So not a lot there, but I did get my NaNoWriMo project set up, I got my document set up, and I got over 500 words written, which I'm really happy about. That was kind of my goal. I didn't expect to get a ton written because I haven't written in a very long time, at least for maybe 5 years. And so honestly, I was pretty scared to start because I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. I wasn't sure if I would sit down and nothing would come out, or if I would sit down and I would hate everything that came out, or what. Plus, you know, there's distractions with other people being there writing with you, which is totally fine. That's part of going, is to get to meet people who also have similar interests to you. So I think 500 is a pretty good start, especially for the first day before I've even gone to bed. So I just have to write at least about 1,000 more words tomorrow to be on track. Of course, I'm hoping to write more because I'm trying to get a little bit of a buffer built up the next few days while I don't have work. So I'm very happy with the 500 words I managed to get down, and I don't think they were terrible. They were not amazing. I am already kind of itching to edit them, which I am not going to do. That is not what this challenge is about. But I feel pretty good about that. Mostly because that means that I feel like I have something that I can work with, and also because I've never been the best on following through with revising and editing after I draft. So maybe time and education has helped improve that for me. I think the urge to already edit, which I have never really contended with that much before, I'll be honest, is a good sign that when I finish at some point, I will want to continue working on this story past the drafting stage. Oh, that feels good. So we're feeling hopeful about our first NaNoWriMo in several years, at least tonight. This has been my last day of Preptober and the beginning of my National Novel Writing Month. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Like this video if I made you smile, and if you're up to it, comment something that made you happy today, yesterday, or even just this week. I would love to celebrate it with you. That's the end, friends. Sending you off with love. Goodbye!